In this video, we are going to talk about hair shaft disorders, and this is going to be the very first video in a very big series. So, hair shaft disorders is something that a lot of Black women have, and because we all have the same hair shaft disorders, we name them, but they're real hair shaft disorders. So let's talk about it. Before we get started, make sure you go ahead and subscribe here to my channel and make sure you click on that bell notification so you're notified every time I post another video. So this woman here sitting in the chair is a client that I had for the first time, but I did her daughter's hair a lot. Her daughter had really healthy hair, but as you can see, even as I'm combing her hair out, there are so many knots and so many tangles. And single strand knots is something that is not made up, but we made up the name, but it is a real hair shaft disorder. And when you look here on the screen, you can see it. When you see the hair shaft disorder that resembles what you call single strand knots, leave it in the comments right now. When you see it on the screen, type in the scientific name for that hair shaft disorder, type it in the comments, and then check the description box when this video is over, because I have a full video on this hair shaft disorder and a blog post to go along with it. Alright, but let's get into this. Completely understand your frustration in your videos now, trying to explain how certain methods damaged our hair to my mom, and her response is, I think Black people are supposed to have knots, so I stopped worrying about them. Mind you, she never lets me give her a proper trim or style her hair, saying how science and God is two different things. And I told her science is actually vital to understanding how to care for God's creation. Your logic makes no sense. It's so frustrating because I want better for her. Like, you literally have a free hairstylist and are suffering unnecessarily because you refuse to listen. I can only imagine how annoying it was and is to hear those types of mindsets daily. It's sad. And listen, you guys, that is why I make the type of videos that I make. I'm not making these videos to be rude. I'm not making it to be controversial or anything like that. I really want us to break old habits. There are some things from the past that we can hold on to that are amazing, but there are certain things that no longer serve us. And it makes me so happy when I have people within the 7-day challenge, or just people here on my channel, who really open their mind up to listen, right? So the woman in this video is one that suffered from a hair shaft disorder. So with the color that I'm using, the color that I used when I was standing behind the chair, because mind you, this video is 6 years old, really helped to repair the scalp, which we'll talk about that in a second. But here on the screen, look at those dates. This is one of my clients within the 7-day challenge, and in less than 3 weeks, her bald spot is filling in, and we're gonna have some updates for you really soon. But you guys, when you break those old habits, things are made so simplistic. So again, when you find the hair shaft disorder, write it in the comments. But what we did, I went ahead and gave her a OLAPLEX treatment. The OLAPLEX was mixed in her color, and the color that I use is from Joyco, and Joyco K-Pack color was on a whole nother level, you guys. If you want a video about that, then let me know in the comments below and I got you. But okay, so what you're seeing in the lower left hand corner is what your scalp looks like. Now, the average person has 100,000 follicles on their scalp, and each follicle or each pore releases anywhere between 1 to 4 strands, and this is a great illustration of that. Okay, pay attention to how the follicles are all independent, but anywhere between 1 to 4 strands come out per pore. That's what I really want you guys to understand, right? Whenever we're talking about science, it's not so like one-sided. It's something that you really have to go into and break down. And even in my informational videos, I can only go so deep, right? So upon knowing this, whenever you put a product on the scalp, it's not going directly into the follicle. Where you are first doing is getting the product through the pore, right? But most of the time, if you're using a highly comedogenic oil, what you're doing is blocking the pore, right? The follicle is down there, you're blocking the pore. And when you block the pore, you throw off your skin cell turnover cycle. What you're looking at right now is a illustration of what the human scalp looks like, and that's the illustration of the dead skin cells that are going to turn over every 28 days. Every 28 days, the dead skin cells on your scalp die and they fall off. But if you are constantly greasing the scalp, if you are constantly putting oil in the scalp, you are rehydrating this dead skin. It can't turn over, and over time it is up weakening the hair follicle, and it ends up causing inflammation. This is a picture of what folliculitis looks like. Folliculitis is a scalp disorder, okay? And most scalp disorders first start with a hair shaft disorder. Watch the videos linked in the description box below to see a live where I really go deep and break that down, right? But once again, for this reason, if you are constantly greasing the scalp and you're constantly oiling the scalp, you block those pores. And upon blocking those pores, what you end up doing is cutting off the oxygen flow. So that illustration that I just showed you, where there was 1 to 4 strands coming out of each pore, right? Well, what happens is when you're cutting off the oxygen flow by putting grease and different butters and oils and stuff like that on the scalp, you block that oxygen flow. And within that follicle, it goes from 4 follicles to 3 to 2 to 1. So this is why it'll look like your hair is really thick when it's wet, but then once you stretch it out, it doesn't really look that great. And this is a thing, this is one of the beauties within the 7-day hair growth challenge. We also go over in the challenge how to find a cosmetologist. She found an amazing cosmetologist. You can see her cosmetologist in the upper right hand corner when you rewind it, but her cosmetologist is amazing. Her hair is great. She has a routine and a pattern to follow. Her hair is not damaged. Her scalp is not damaged or anything like that. No inflammation. She doesn't have a hair shaft disorder. She's not having heat damage from straightening her hair or anything like that, because she has a pattern and she's not always wearing her hair straight. And that's not your only option. You have so many options, but here right now at this point, I am blow drying her hair, and upon blow drying her hair, I am only using a leave-in conditioner. Your leave-in conditioner is your heat protection for your blow dryer. If you want a little bit more information on that, check again the videos linked in the description box below. Listen, we have a whole lot of new people here on the channel, but I have been doing this for a really long time, and I promise you I have a video on everything. So really just look through my older videos and see what's there, boo, because it's there for you. But again, when we are talking about oil in the scalp, this is one of the leading causes of women who end up experiencing thinning and balding over the years. So this is what the human hair shaft looks like, right? And this is the sebaceous gland that produces sebum. Sebum is the natural oil that your body produces, and it comes out of the pore, right? The sebum is made within the follicle, but it comes out of the pore. But if you're greasing the scalp, your pores are going to be clogged, and when the pores are clogged, the natural bacteria that lives there it is energized because it is a colonizing bacteria, meaning it can spread, and its favorite food is oil. So when you give a colonizing bacteria its favorite food, which is oil, bacteria begins to form, and that's what happens on your face when you have too much oil, and this is what happens on your scalp, folliculitis. So this is why so many women experience so much pain in the scalp, so much burning, and one of the things that they go to treat the burning and all of that is oil. And the sucky part about it is not really knowing that you are the cause of your own problem. Like, just knowing that you are trying everything you can, and the only reason you're using oils is because it makes sense that it's from the earth, so it would help. But no, just like you like oil and you understand all its beneficial properties, so do the bacteria that live on and around the human body. So by you putting oils there, you end up feeding that bacteria. And another thing a lot of people don't want to hear, but I'm going to have a whole video specifically on wash and goes, because anytime you allow your hair even to air dry, you create a great bacteria environment, a great environment for the bacteria, because a bacteria's favorite environment, and this isn't just the bacteria on your scalp, this is any type of bacteria. Any type of bacteria loves wet and like really, really nutrient dense environments, right? So something that is wet, like your hair, your wet hair is a great environment for bacteria. And the oil that you are putting on your hair is the bacteria that you're growing from the moisture's favorite food. So the bacteria that is forming from the moisture and the bacteria that naturally lives on your scalp's favorite food is oil. So it's literally like you're just creating a petri dish in your hair, and that is the honest truth. Especially if you're drying your hair overnight, especially if it takes days to dry, especially if you're wetting it multiple times. These are things that I really want you guys to think about. So we ended up only doing high lift color. We didn't do any use any lightener, and she didn't want to use any lightener to get some of the darker spots. She was like, oh, I like the darker spots, we'll just have them looking like highlights, or low lights. So that is what we ended up doing. So her goal wasn't to take away the gray look. She just wanted, like, actually she told me cream soda. That's what she told me. She was like, I want like a cream soda type of look. So that is what we did. This is from inside of the 7-day challenge. I'm giving you a little bit too much information, but this is someone letting you know that her single strand knots were gone, like, right away. When it comes to the 7-day challenge, you are getting results fast, you guys. And the main reason why you're getting results fast is because I'm giving you a new routine, new patterns, new product selections, and new ways to select products based on your porosity, and a group where I'm constantly giving you so much information where you can ask questions and so many other things. All right, make sure if you are already a part of the 7-day challenge that you are inside of the group. If you have not paid for the 7-day challenge, I love you, but you cannot enter the group. So don't try to get in there because I'm going to decline it. But if you have paid for the 7-day challenge, make sure you are in the group, because that is your resource. Okay, it is, oh my god, I can't talk. There are so many people within the 7-day challenge that are right in it with you, and it's amazing because everybody's talking to each other, sharing information and everything. So if you need help and you need like your hand held through the process, then the 7-day challenge is going to be for you. But if you are a person who can sit down for about a week and just binge watch all of my videos and get some notes, then baby, do that too. Either way, I want you to figure this out, right? But Again, we have to be able to let go of old things that are no longer serving us. And in this case, this woman was so sweet. She was so sweet, and so was her daughter. But she was not letting go of any hair. Do you hear me? Like nothing. The trim that I do give her, she did not even want. And the crazy part about it, not, and I don't mean it like this because I'm not saying anything bad about her, but it was like she wanted me to create magic. It was like, okay, what's on my head? What can you do? This is another beauty inside of the 7-day challenge, and she is not straightening her hair, but she's keeping it stretched with a blowout, and then she puts flexi rods in her hair, and that is how it turned out. Absolutely beautiful, you guys. You have so many options. I'm not saying you have to only wear your hair straight. You have so many options, and you can also flexi rod without using a blow dryer. You can do it like with some foam, you guys. After I straighten, I always give my clients a chance to see what we are working with, and then they make the decision on what they want to do. And I never do anything that my clients do not want to do. And in this case, she didn't want to do nothing. Okay, she didn't want to do nothing, but she wanted me to like work magic. That's what she wanted. Let's listen. When I was standing behind a chair and I had a client that didn't feel comfortable or that sounded like they didn't really want to do it, I just didn't do it. And this was one of those cases. I just gave her the bare minimum because I can tell she was not for what I was going to need to do to make it look presentable, to make it have any movement whatsoever. So as I explained to you guys in the earlier part of the video, the hairs are coming through the pore, but the follicles are underneath the pore. So whenever you are putting products on the scalp, you're not putting them in the hair follicle. The follicle is below the pore, and if you are blocking the follicle, you are throwing off the skin cell turnover cycle. This is why certain products are working for hair growth. It's not that they're making your hair grow, it's clearing the pathways that you've been blocking, right? So that is why her hair looks so much thinner, and that's why normally the older you get, your hair thins out. It's not because Black women are supposed to have thin hair. It's not because Black women are supposed to have knots. It is because the practices that we pass down don't allow our hair to do the things that it's meant to do naturally. And that is all my videos are about. Now, most of the time when I make videos like this, I always get somebody in the comments that's like, well, I've been doing wash and goes for 20 years and my hair is okay. I know some people gonna get mad when I say this, but you know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like people is like, I've been doing crack for 20 years and I'm fine. And I've been doing crack. It's like, well, I did drugs a couple times and I've turned out fine. It's like, just because you still got your house doesn't mean that drugs are not bad. It just means that you didn't got lucky. You got superhuman strength or something. But it doesn't mean that you're still not working against the body. And hair weathering can take anywhere between 6 months to 25 years to set in. And if it's been working out for you thus far, it could have just not shown up yet. But anywho, at this point, I am giving her a trim, and even though it was okay, it wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. Her hair wasn't giving me any movement really, but I will say that it was a lot better than it was at the very beginning, because if you rewind to the beginning of the video, you can see that she had a lot of single strand knots, and her hair was like coming out in clumps when she first sat down in my chair. I had to detangle her hair, and a whole lot of hair came out when, well, it didn't come out as I was detangling. As you can see, like when the video first started, there was already a piece of hair like on its way out, right? So yeah, as you guys can see, all I was really able to do was go ahead and give her, a minute trim, bend her ends under a little bit, and I think that the cream soda color worked really good on her skin. I think she looked really beautiful, and after I put the curls in, I just went ahead and wrapped her hair with a little bit of serum, because she did have high porosity hair, and so I'm not sealing the cuticle, I'm laying cuticle right with the serum. So I put her under the dryer under cool air for about 15 minutes, started on her daughter's hair, and then unwrapped hers. Now, as you can see, we don't really have as much movement because she does have a hair shaft disorder. Single strand knots, the ones that you guys call single strand knots, remember, when you find it, write it in the comments. But she had a different hair shaft disorder. So if you want to know more about hair shaft disorders, and if you're interested on me doing a full series on hair shaft disorders, then make sure you leave it in the comments below. Say, hey Sam, I want to hear more about hair shaft disorders, because a lot of times when you think that the flat iron gave you heat damage, you didn't get heat damage from the flat iron. You had a hair shaft disorder before you went in, and then once the flat iron touched your hair, it was able to damage it super fast, because you have a hair shaft disorder, which is holes and splits and rips and tears within the hair shaft. So I really hope that everything that I said in this video makes sense. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and make sure you subscribe. Bye.